Everybody, I see more people popping in. Welcome, Doreen and Bill.
Good morning.
How you doing?
Excellent.
Someday we're going to do that rafting trip with you, Bill.
Yeah.
So this week we got a very special guest. A couple weeks ago, we met through LinkedIn messaging. We connected and we started chatting on LinkedIn and we talked about podcasts. So I was a guest on Nina's podcast and it was awesome. I really enjoyed it. But she helps people with mindset, which, boy, we really need that these days. I mean, it seems like every day is an emotional roller coaster. Some days, like, things, you feel really good. And then I was at Lake Tahoe last week. I got a nice rest. Now I came back to work. I'm like, do I really want to work anymore? I just can't get motivated. But it's all about mindset. Years ago, in early 1990s, I worked for Cellular One, and they used to bring coaches in to help us with team building. And they weren't even called coaches back then. But that's when I got hooked on personal development and Nightingale Conant programs. And gosh, I bought, I don't know how many over 25 years. My wife was, aren't you fixed yet? Why do you keep buying more of those? And the craziest mindset thing, I'll share this and then we'll introduce Nina. Years ago, I came across this video. It said, tapping for $50,000. And you know, the emotional freedom technique, I don't believe in that stuff. I didn't know anything about it. So I said, I'll watch this 6-minute video. So it's like, you did this tapping and it was to bring $50,000 to you. And the next day I get a phone call and it's a guy says, I'm Perry Marshall's agent and Entrepreneur Press wants you to write a book. Actually 2 books, on the Ultimate Guide to LinkedIn for Business and Ultimate Guide to Twitter for Business. But we can only pay you $25,000 up front for each book. Is that okay? And that was like the day after I did the tapping. So.
Oh, wow.
Wow.
Amazing.
It hasn't worked again, though. I keep trying.
Maybe it was a one-off.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, your genie out of the bottle gave you one.
I'm doing it wrong. I don't know. But I want to introduce Nina Cooke. Welcome, Nina.
It's great to be here, Ted.
We have a lot of fun here, so watch out. It can be a wild group sometimes. So why don't you tell us what you do and how you got into coaching and mindset?
Absolutely. It's great to be here, to meet everyone here. I got into mindset because I had to fix myself. I thought I was broken and I needed just to become more confident. I was one of those people who'd always hide away in the back of the room, never speak up in a group, never wanted any attention because for me it felt it was dangerous. And when I had children, as toddlers, they're very, very confident. And I thought, I want to be a good role model for my children. And I want to be authentically confident and sort of feel comfortable with myself and like myself. So I started a long journey of personal development. I read lots of books, did trainings, all sorts of things. And it was only when I received an email from a friend and she wrote, you're interested in limiting beliefs and stuff like that. You might find this interesting. And it led me to this guy. And the first time I spoke to him, he said, the only reason you feel this bad about yourself is because you believe your limiting beliefs are true. And I thought, well, nothing's ever going to work for me. I'm stuck like this, but let's give it a go. And after the sessions, I started doing things differently. I started putting videos out. I started reaching out to people. And I stopped worrying about what people thought about me. And I thought, this is really interesting. I would never have done any of this stuff before, getting my message out there in a bigger way. And it was transformative for me. It changed not just my business. I had a personal shopping business at that time, but it changed me and how I showed up with people. It changed my relationships. And I started working with entrepreneurs because I knew I could make a tangible difference in their businesses. When they create more self-belief, when they create courage and resilience, then they start taking big dramatic action in their business. And as entrepreneurs, we have to take action, don't we, in order to get clients and have a bigger impact and more income. So that's what I've been doing since around 2013. And I work mainly with consultants, with experts, with coaches, helping them to get out of their own way, to stop self-sabotaging themselves, to stop hesitating, to stop procrastinating, and to realize actually they can create the business that they want to from the inside by creating the thinking that will support a bigger business, more success, working with higher-end clients, and to be able to reach out to people without fear. And I know that this is a big part of being on LinkedIn, reaching out to people. And if it's okay with Ted, I'd very much like to focus on that theme in today.
Sure. Sounds great.
Yeah.
Good. Before I've got a PowerPoint, I'd like to do that, but I want to make it very interactive as well. So I'd love for you to participate through chat. And because this is all about you and finding out where you are right now and where you feel that you're blocked, and I want to help you. And then I'm going to take you through an exercise so you can actually implement in today's call, where we work together on a limiting belief. And I want to help you to dissolve it from your subconscious and replace it with a new empowering belief. So you start to think differently about reaching out to people and, building relationships and connections as well. Any questions before we dive in?
Should we have people type in their limiting belief?
Well, I'm going to be asking them some of this as we go along. So could you, I don't think I can, I can share my screen. Perfect. Okay, so I will start. Here we go. Could everyone see my screen?
Yep.
Perfect. So this is all about how to remove the fear of reaching out to people to increase your income and your impact. Okay, so that's not going to move forward. There we go. So let's start off by playing the what if game. Think about connecting with someone on LinkedIn, maybe someone on your list of people that you want to connect with, maybe someone who you perceive as being maybe much more successful than you are, maybe someone that you think would be a really good referral partner or prospect. So just step into that scenario of reaching out to connect with someone on LinkedIn. And I'd love to know, as you're thinking about that, what comes into your head? What negative thinking pops into your head? And if you feel comfortable, please do share it on chat, because this is going to be, really beneficial to everyone, I think, if we can share what's coming up for us. So you're thinking of reaching out to someone on LinkedIn. What comes up for you? Melinda's saying, who am I to ask that person to connect or help me? Yeah. That's a great one. Ted, I'm not good enough. Yes. Bill, I would like to have more successful hits. Okay, yeah. Jan, the best way to present myself. Yes. How are they going to perceive you? Samantha, they might not answer. That's an absolute possibility. Courtney, how can I bring value to them? Yeah. That's a great one. So you're absolutely thinking along the right lines there. How can you bring value to them? Yay, I hope, yay, accounting. What if they only think I want to sell so they don't want to connect? Yeah, that could be something that crosses, absolutely something that crosses many people's mind when they're thinking about connecting. What they think I'm being pushy or salesy. Melinda, I don't know if that's good or bad that we're thinking along the right lines. Yeah, we're going to go through this. It's not good or bad. It's just that this is what's coming up. And it's really good sometimes to put it down on paper, bring it out of your mind so you can actually see your thoughts. Doreen's saying, I don't want to bother them. Absolutely. They may be busy. They may not want to hear from me. Okay, great. Now, okay, so this is what it feels like, doesn't it? When you're thinking about reaching out to someone that you don't know, and we're mind reading, we're assuming that we know how they're going to think. So it can feel really, really scary, can't it? What do you think is the impact on you and your business of not reaching out to people? How can it be having an impact on your business And again, please do write in chat because I'd love to know what you're thinking. What's the impact of you not reaching out to business? What effect could it have on your business if you didn't connect with people? Melinda's saying, I'm not growing my business. I'm stymieing myself. Loss of revenue and contacts, absolutely. Samantha, definitely no sales. I'm not having the income. They're coming in thick and fast. This is great. Definitely no sales, not having the income I should. Doreen saying keeps me contained. Yeah, it absolutely limits you. Bill, my business falls behind. Jan, if you don't reach out, you cannot create any relationships. That's true. Ted, I could help them, but I don't give them the opportunity. Yes, you're depriving them of giving them help that they may really need. Courtney, I'm not sharing solutions with them that could help them. Therefore, I'm missing opportunities. Yeah, doors will not open unless we are active and reach out. Bill says could lose additional business. Absolutely. So there are opportunities which you may not have if you don't reach out to people. So there's two ways of being in business. There's being passive and sitting back and hoping people are going to reach out to you, or there's being proactive and making it happen. And we have a choice. So which way do you want to run your business? Do you want to be proactive or do you want to be passive? And it absolutely is a decision that we make unconsciously, but I just like to bring it out to your conscious mind so you can make that decision. Okay, so the reverse of that, what's so great about reaching out to people, connecting with them, building relationships? Why do you think that's important as an entrepreneur? Where you are responsible for your sales, what is so beneficial about reaching out to people? Ted, I meet a lot of interesting people. Yeah, that's a big benefit. Greg, get your energy moving. Yes. Bill, relationships and meeting people. Doreen, possibilities abound. Making true connections and expanding who you know. And Jan says it gives me an opportunity to help them if they know who I am and how I can help. Bill says I can replace unappreciative clients with more appreciative clients. Yes. And Melinda says I get to meet great new people, learn from them, and may have a surprise come from it. This is exactly why we reach out to people, because you don't know what's going to happen as a consequence. We don't know who knows who. We don't know who that person may connect us to. We don't know what that person may need in that moment that we can help them with. So it's almost like when you connect with someone, there's a surprise element, isn't there? That's what makes it fun for me. I don't know what's going to come from this. I don't know what sort of conversation we're going to have. I don't know what challenge this person is having right now in their lives that I may be able to help them with. They may be working on a project and they think you could be a great partner for that project. So there are so many opportunities, multitude of opportunities every time you send even one connection request on LinkedIn. And if you send 5 connection requests a day, 10, there's a myriad of little networks you're creating out there. And that is so exciting because you don't know what's going to come from it. And suddenly you're creating, it's like dropping a pebble, and then you start getting ripples coming out from that pebble, and those ripples get bigger and bigger and bigger. So you don't have to do a huge amount of connections to start seeing the effect of it. And actually, when you think about it, writing a connection request, how long does it take you? It's actually very quick, isn't it? Once you've got a great script, I know Ted is amazing at giving great scripts. How long does it take you to actually do it? And look at what you can get from it. And this is what I find so wonderful about this whole strategy of reaching out. So we've talked about this already, enables you to expand your vision. Now, I know my bullet points are all over the place. I apologize, someone did this for me. It means you expand your network to enroll more paying clients. It can be easy and fun. It can be easy and fun if you think it is. It could be very difficult. It could be dispiriting if you think it is. So you get to decide what thinking you bring along to connecting with people. It's your choice. You are absolutely in control. Huge personal and business growth. When you become truly comfortable with connecting with people, you feel unstoppable. And it makes you feel really confident that you're okay with people not getting back to you. You're okay with no's. You're okay with people not having the time to connect with you. All of that doesn't seem to matter anymore because it just becomes like a game, a fun game to play. And you have the satisfaction of knowing you're taking action to grow your business. You're taking action that can bring you in clients, paying clients. And that puts you very firmly in the driver's seat of your business. Okay, so any questions so far? This is what it's all about. It's about having fun in your business and really feeling that this is something that you can achieve for yourself. You don't have to wait for people or anyone to come to you and hopefully make it happen for you. You make it happen for yourself. So before we go into the implementation part, before we start going into the principles of doing this inner work together, are there any questions from anyone so far? And if there aren't, then we'll just keep going. Okay, good. Right. Now, I work on mindset, as you know, and I help entrepreneurs to take much bigger action in their business to bring in higher paying clients. The principles of this inner work are very, very simple. I'd just like to run through them with you. First of all, is to take 100% responsibility for everything that's showing up in your life. So when I really got this, it meant that I became more of an adult because I stopped blaming my parents for the childhood I had, for knocking my confidence, for making me feel that I didn't have any value. I could stop thinking all of those, making up all those stories, and I could start taking responsibility for me, who I am, how I think, how I feel, how I react to situations, how I interact with people. The great thing I found with taking responsibility is that it meant that I could start changing things from within me. I didn't have to rely on anyone else to make the changes in my life. I was able to step into it myself. And that made me feel really powerful. The second principle of our work together today is that we will identify and eliminate our big fat lies once and for all. And what I mean by big fat lies are the stories we tell ourselves. When we think about reaching out to people, what are the stories you tell yourself? What's the negative thinking you're making up in your mind that's stopping you from taking action? Because they're stories, they're not the truth. And you may say, well, I have evidence to support my stories, so they must be true. The evidence that you have is supporting your stories because you're only looking for that evidence. And you're not seeing all the alternative evidence. That's the opposite of your stories. So once you dissolve your big fat lies, then suddenly you're going to see all the opposite evidence. This is about changing your thinking permanently. And the work we're going to do today is going to go into your subconscious and make a change there. And then you don't have to use willpower every day to keep that change in place. It just becomes your natural way of thinking. And when it becomes your natural way of thinking, it means you start making decisions from that new empowered place of thinking. And when you're making decisions from that new empowered place of thinking, then you're making better decisions for you and your business. And finally, this is the central theme in the work we're going to do today. Your meanings are causing your fear. So another way of saying it is your stories that you're making up are causing your fear. It's not reaching out that's the cause of your fear. It's your thinking about reaching out, which is causing your fear, your anxiety, and causing you to hesitate. Now that's good news. because you can change your meanings. And when I say meanings, I mean the meanings you make up about memories. So imagine you've reached out on LinkedIn and the person didn't respond to you, or they responded in a way that you didn't like. You made up a meaning about that. And that meaning pops up every time you think about reaching out on LinkedIn. The meaning is made up. It's a story. It's not real. It's not true, as you're going to see as we go through this exercise together. Removing the meanings which cause your fear will transform your life. Because then you'll be looking at the task in hand with a clear mind, without any fear, without any anxiety. And when you look at the task in hand with a clear mind, you can take action. And when you take action, then you cause a lovely momentum in your business. So you're thinking cleanly and objectively, and you're focused on getting that task done without tripping yourself up. And that makes life much, much easier and brings you faster results without any shadow of a doubt. This is what I do with myself to grow my business, and this is what I do with my clients as well. Okay, just very quickly, what are limiting beliefs? You'll probably know all about limiting beliefs. These are simply thoughts. They're just thoughts that we make up, and then we buy into them, and we believe they're true, and then we forget we have them. And when we want to do something, and we can't do it because we feel resistance, it's just the limiting belief popping up his head and saying, oh, don't do that. It's not going to work, or it's pointless doing it, or you don't deserve to have that. They're insidious. They're deeply buried most of the time, and they create a huge amount of damage because they stop us from playing full out in our lives. How are they formed? Well, most of our limiting beliefs are formed in our early childhood, before the age of 6, because up to that age, we're sponges. We're just absorbing everything that our parents are saying, and we're not questioning anything. So, for example, say a parent it doesn't play with you. As a child, you may think, well, they're too busy to play with me. I wonder why. Oh, it's because I'm not important. So that belief is created, and then we carry that belief into our adult life and keep looking for more evidence that that belief is true, because we always like to be right, don't we? Okay. So I would love to take you through an exercise to remove a limiting belief around reaching out. So there's a couple of different ways that we can word this belief. You can word it, it's scary to reach out to my inner circle. Maybe there's people that you want to reach out on LinkedIn. Maybe you know some of these people and you haven't connected with them, and you want to connect with them because maybe you think, well, this is low-hanging fruit, but you still feel hesitancy towards reaching out to them. Or you can have the belief it's scary to reach out to people. So just use the wording that resonates most with you. But don't stray too far from this wording. So it's scary to reach out to my inner circle, or it's scary to reach out to people. Whichever resonates most with you. So the first step is for you to write down this belief on a Post-it note, if you have a Post-it note, or on a piece of paper. Step 2 is to say this belief out loud, and then to give it a number out of 10. So the more you agree with this statement, the higher your number out of 10. Now, this is the key bit. Don't let your intellect give you the number, because your intellect will argue, will negotiate, the ego will step in. So just ask your intellect to go to sleep and let your gut, your intuition, just float the number up for you. And I hope you will have a number now. And please write down the number next to that belief. And here's what we're going to do. We're going to focus 100% on this one belief only. So step 3 is for you to go back through your memories and find your earliest memory connected with this belief is scary to reach out to people. Now you may find, and go back as early as you can. And when you find a memory, just scan, have a quick scan and just see if there's any earlier memory than the one that you found. To make sure you get your earliest memory, it's just a hook for us to hang the belief on. And when you find your earliest memory connected with this belief, just write it down in a sentence. Now, you may not be able to find an early, clear memory. So go with a later memory. Maybe it's in your teens, maybe it's when you started working, or maybe it's even more recent than that. Or you may not have any clear memory of this, but you may have a feeling, oh, I think it started around when I was 12. And that's good enough. And just write that down. I had this feeling when I was 12. So just make sure you have something around the earliest memory connected with this belief. And when you found that memory, let's put that memory on a screen. And now you and I can watch it in real time. And on that screen, we're going to stick a big yellow post-it note with your meaning written on it. This means it's scary to reach out to people. And remember, you made this meaning up in your head. It's a story that you made up. The memory is real and true, but the meaning is made up. And it's made up because you can change your mind about it in the next thought. And while we go through this exercise, I'm going to use an example of a memory from my client when we worked on this belief together. My client's earliest memory connected to this belief was when she was around 5 years old, a new girl started in her class, and she tried to make friends with this girl, and this girl didn't want to make friends with my client. So that's her earliest memory, and that gave her the belief, this means it's scary to reach out to people. Now we're going to play a little game. We're going to look at this memory now, your memory, with fresh eyes, and we're going to make up some alternative meanings to explain your memory. So again, using my client's memory when she reached out to this new girl in her class and the new girl didn't want to be her friend. An alternative meaning could be, just because she didn't want to be friends, it doesn't mean it's scary to reach out to other people at other times in different situations. Another alternative meaning could be, it doesn't mean that reaching out to other people is going to result in a no. Another alternative meaning could be that getting no's is okay because no's lead to yeses. If we got a yes every single time, life would be boring. We wouldn't be challenged. We wouldn't stretch our comfort zone. We wouldn't take risks. So our greatest learning and growth opportunities are when we hit a brick wall, when we hit a challenge, when we find it uncomfortable, but we still do it. And we're here to play a game of life, aren't we? We're not here just to find it easy and bland and boring. The bumps in the road are what gives everything color and meaning. So we are here to play the game of life. And getting no's is just part of it. Now, you may have alternative meanings that you've made up about your memory. And so now we've got your memory on a screen and it's covered in different post-it notes with different meanings written on them. And they're all made up in our head. Now we're going to remove all the post-it notes from your memory. And what are you left with? You're left with a clear memory, a pure memory. In my client's case, all that happened was that little girl didn't want to be her friend. That's all that happened. And the pure memory is its true natural form. It doesn't need a meaning stuck to it. So memories are there for us to get learnings from. And that's their real use, I believe. Step inside your memory, your early memory that you wrote down, and get that feeling as strongly as you can. It's scary to reach out to people. Now, does that feeling come from your memory, or is that feeling coming from the meaning you made up in your head to explain that memory? It has to come from the feeling you made up in your head, because no one can give us a limiting belief. We have to think it and believe it to be true and buy into it. And that's how we form our limiting beliefs, which is really good news, because if you can form your limiting beliefs, if you can make them, you can unmake them as well. So this is all done within you. It has nothing to do with the outside world. So go back to your younger self in the memory and go back with the alternative meanings. So in my client's case, she would go back to her younger self with the alternative meanings that just because she didn't want to be your friend, it doesn't mean it's scary to reach out to other people at other times in different situations. Also, it's okay to get a no, because when you get no's, you also get yeses as well. And not everyone's going to say no. Some people are going to say yes. And you're here to play full out. You're here to make connections and form relationships and reach out to people. You're here to get uncomfortable. You're here to grow your vision. You're here to shine brightly. That's what you're here for. And you will get some no's along the way, but that's okay, because we never have to take them personally. So please just take a moment to speak to your younger self in the memory, but speak to your younger self in an upbeat way, in a positive way. And remember, I said that the meaning and the memory or the event aren't truly connected, but we connect them in our heads by mistake. So what we want to do here is disconnect the memory and the meaning. So in your mind's eye, put your memory on a screen and stick a big yellow post-it note on it with your meaning written on it. It's scary to reach out to people. And now watch as the memory and the meaning become powerful magnets which disconnect from each other. They've repelled each other and they're zooming off to the opposite corners of the universe. And go back and look at your memory. Has it disconnected from that made up meaning? Is it doing little jumps of joy saying, thank you for removing that horrible lie off me? And finally, I can go back to being a pure memory. So does it feel true to you that this feeling is scary to reach out to people never came from any reality? It was just an innocent interpretation you made up in your head. Just cross out that limiting belief you wrote down, is scary to reach out to people. Put a line through it. What can you write instead that feels true about you and who you truly are and what's possible for you? And when you've written that down, just have a look at what you've written. Does it feel true? Is it aligned with you, within you? And the final step, just take a breath in, let it out slowly, let that old memory go, keep any learnings, and say it's scary to reach out to people, and give that a number out of 10. Great, thank you for following along. And I'd love to know in chat how you got on with that. If you want to share numbers, your beginning number and your end number. If you'd like to share the new truth that you wrote down. If you have any questions, if you have any comments, I'm here to help you to get the best possible result today by dissolving this belief. Jan, great result. 8 to a 2. You said your memory makes you want to cry. Congratulations on an amazing result. And you obviously picked a very poignant memory there. This work, I forgot to say, takes real courage and guts, because you're going deep and you're facing things which are uncomfortable, because no one wants to think, well, I've got this block that I feel is scary to reach out to people. I don't want to feel like that. So congratulations, everyone, on doing this work, because it really does take courage to do this. Ted, start at 8 and now 1. Amazing. Well done. When you get down to, say, a 2 or below, that belief is not going to bother you at all. And it does go permanently, because once you pull back the curtain and see it for the lie that it truly is, it can never become a truth again for you. If you get a similar feeling, it's because it's a separate but similar limiting belief, which also needs to be dissolved. Samantha, I went from a 7 to a 2. Wow, fantastic. My new truth is it's fun, exciting to reach out to people. Absolutely. So this is you making a decision. You're in control. You are creating your thinking about what it's like to reach out to people. The thinking isn't being done to you anymore. And it's bringing that awareness into your being. Oh, I get to choose to make it fun. I get to choose to make it easy. Can you imagine how many connections you can now make on LinkedIn? Knowing that, knowing it's okay if people don't reply, knowing it's okay that, people don't reply with the answer that you want or the response that you want, is fine. Jan, I didn't know I had this memory. Interesting. So many times when I work with a client, they say, oh, this just popped into my head. It's like, I haven't thought about this forever. It suddenly just popped into my head. Because the memory is there. It wants to be used in a way that's going to help you to move forward. Memories aren't there to cause us unhappiness. They're there to give us learnings, to help us to move forward. Can you imagine if you never made up another meaning ever about any memory you've ever had? How would your life be if we were clear of all the negative meanings we attach to memories, and we just look back at memory and think, okay, what can I learn from that memory? I can just let it go then. How much space would that create within you to focus on what you really want and go for it? Our meanings hold us back. They pull us back when we want to go forward. Melinda saying 8 to 2, brilliant result. I smiled as I was writing my new statement. It's exciting to reach out to new people. Yes, absolutely. Melinda says, your statement about I take 100% responsibility for everything that happens to me, while in a sense that could be scary, is also very freeing. It gave me a sense of power. Yes. And I forgot to say that when you take 100% responsibility, you do it without blaming yourself. That's a very important caveat. So we say, okay, I'm responsible for all the results I'm getting in my life. And that's okay. I've got this great new awareness now that I'm responsible for it, and I can change that. That's the position we want to be in. When we're truly driving our car, we are in the driver's seat and we've got the foot on the accelerator and we are going in the direction we want to go into, and we are creating that from within. Doreen saying, little girl entered a new school where lots of kids of famous wealthy people were. I was less than others, but in truth, I got the award in 8th grade. Well done. Most all-round student. Yay. I do shine brightly. Absolutely. You do shine brightly. And we are all here to shine brightly. And when we dim our light, we are truly not serving anyone in this world. And we may think, well, when I dim my light, other people can shine more brightly. I'm giving them space to do that. I don't think we're here for that. I think we're here all to shine brightly, to take our space in the world. We're all equal. I don't care what anyone earns. I don't care what sort of house they live in, what parents they have, the family they come from. That doesn't matter in the least. We are all, I believe, exactly the same within. We have the same amount of, love, wisdom, truth, power, deservedness, worthiness. It's just a level playing field in this world. Some people believe they're worthy of having everything they want. Other people believe that they're not. It's just a story. If we believe we're not, well, we're making up. Because the truth is, I believe we're all absolutely worthy of having everything we want. But that means we have to take the action to go for it in life. Because no one else will ever do it for us. People aren't going to knock on our doors saying, I'd like to be your client, please, and I want to pay you this much. It may happen once in a blue moon. But this is the wonderful thing about LinkedIn. You make those connections and those opportunities start knocking on your door. I know that from personal experience. Suddenly people want to connect with you. You think, oh, wow, that person wants to connect with me. Yeah, this is great. This sort of person I wanted to connect with, they're coming to me. So this is all the great stuff that TED teaches. And Melinda's saying, our meanings hold us back. Wow, yeah. And we're making them all up. They're not real and they're not true. That's the big wow that I got from this. Oh, well, why would I want to create meanings when they're just doing me, they're holding me back? Why would I want to do that? So now we don't live our lives by default. Thoughts don't happen to us. We are creating them with our new awareness. Great stuff. You got some great results. I'm very proud of you all. Well done. This is great work. Is there anything that anyone wants to ask, or was there anyone who didn't get the result that they were hoping for, maybe got stuck on a particular point? Please do let me know, because I'd love to help you.
I have a question.
Ted, yes, please, go ahead.
I've done the exercise like this many times over the years, and right now everybody's like feeling really good. So in a month, how do we keep going back to this where we're at right now?
That's a great question. Is to continue doing this work. Mindset is ongoing throughout your life, unless you hit enlightenment. And when you hit enlightenment, then it goes into deeper and deeper layers. So there's continuing stuff going on there. As you do this more and more, excuse me, as your awareness grows, I'm just making it all up. It's not real or true. I don't need to bother with that thinking because it's all made up. I'm just going to put it to one side and get on with what I want to do. As you start doing that more and more automatically, then you will automatically realize you're doing things you never thought you would do before. If in a month's time, suddenly you think, okay, I don't want to, if it suddenly doesn't feel good connecting with people again, the best thing you can do is to write down your thinking about it. So there'll be other limiting beliefs around that. It may be limiting beliefs. People don't want to be bothered. People are too busy to hear from me. I haven't got anything interesting to say. So there'll be other beliefs around it. So if you think about it, if you think of it as a tabletop, and the tabletop is this scary, you're not reaching out to people. That's the challenge. You're not connecting with people when you know that is going to be helpful. And then you find the table legs underneath the challenge, and each table leg is a limiting belief. So we found a limiting belief today, but there may be other table legs supporting that challenge. So it's finding those table legs and collapsing them, and then the tabletop falls. It's got no support anymore. So there are lots of different ways of doing this. There are lots of different modalities, that can take you to the same end result. This is one that I use, which is very effective because it's very targeted. We can be very, very specific with this modality. So you may find another way, EFT, etc., But it's ongoing work, and it's catching yourself. And the first step is always awareness. If you find you're resisting doing it, why am I resisting to doing this? What stories am I telling myself? Let's write them down and pick out the limiting beliefs. And now you've got this process. You're recording this, so there's nothing to stop people to go back and use this process with another limiting belief. If we stop doing this work, the fears will carry on. Dissolving one belief isn't going to suddenly transform your business. I want to be very transparent. I work with clients for a year because it's cumulative. It's be repeating things again and again and again until it goes deep down. One of my mastermind clients said, the best thing about the mastermind is because you keep saying the same thing again and again. And it goes in more and more deeply each and every time. So find a way, whatever way works for you, to do the ongoing work.
So it's like peeling an onion. You just keep peeling back layer after layer.
But the good thing about doing an ongoing basis is your level of thinking keeps rising. It keeps rising. So you don't go back down again to that place. Of course, we go down rabbit holes. Of course, people who do mindset work all the time have bad times when they get caught into spiral of thinking. But the great thing is you pull yourself out of it much more quickly each and every time, because you realize that it's just stories and it's not real and it's not true about you. So why would you invest any time with them? It really gets to that stage like, that's just pointless thinking that stuff anymore. It really is pointless. So as it's a cumulative effect, dissolving belief after belief, and this is just a start. We have so many money limiting beliefs. It's a struggle to get clients. I'll never have enough money. People are never going to pay me that much. We have literally, I don't want to be dispiriting, but we have hundreds of this stuff. However, the thinking keeps rising and rising. And as the thinking rises, we take bigger action. We take bolder action. We reach out. We expect more. That's the thing. Our expectations rise. Well, I'm not settling for that anymore. I want this now. And funny enough, we start surrounding ourselves, and this is what my clients say, we start surrounding ourselves with people who lift our vision and our expectations because we don't settle for less.
Jan,
does that answer your question?
Yes. Jan has a good question. Jan, you want to ask the question? Or we can just read it.
So does it take a while for this to sink into our bodies?
Yep.
Yeah.
Very, very interesting question. And I would say this is a personal thing. For me, when I clear a belief, it just goes. Personally, when I clear a belief, I start with an 8 or a 9 or a 10. Normally goes down to a 4 or 5, and then I'll repeat a couple of the steps again, and then it gets down, and I think it doesn't even make sense, that belief anymore, then it's gone. So for you, it may be that it'll take a while to sink into your body. It really depends. Sometimes clients will say, okay, I just need to just settle. So that may be their way of saying it needs to settle into my body. They just need for it to just settle down. It's like you're throwing everything up in the air, and then for some people it's just immediate, and other times other people take a little bit longer for it just to, settle down.
Well, the reason I asked was because the memory that actually one memory came to another memory, and they're all when I was really little. And so bringing that out and realizing what was going on was just all made up in my mind. I was so tiny. I was like 4 years old or 3 years old or whatever. It makes me cry. It makes me want to cry right now. And so I'm thinking I've got to settle this down in my body so that I get beyond the tears.
Yeah.
Is that true?
Yeah, absolutely. That can definitely happen. And just show a lot of love for that 4-year-old and let her know she's safe. You've got her back.
Cool.
There is sadness sometimes in the memories, for sure. Absolutely. But you can take care of that 4-year-old. And remember, that 4-year-old isn't you, because you can't be in that memory any longer. You can only exist in this present moment. That's the only place we can be, where we're breathing, thinking, listening, feeling, talking. Is the only place we can exist. So we think we're in our memories, but we're no longer in that memory. And, you know, our cells have turned over so many times that physically you're not in that memory anyway. It's impossible. But we're just in this moment. There's an image, a representation of Jan in that memory, but it's not you anymore. And that puts a distance between us and our memories as well. So we can look at them more objectively. Bill says, perhaps we should revisit this recording each month. Yeah, absolutely. And not even just each month, every time you come across the block, and if you can identify your limiting belief, then, you know, if this process has been helpful for you, then yeah. But it is repetition.
So I told my wife, I'm never going to be fixed. I'll keep listening to this personal development stuff.
This is the other thing, you see. This is a story I used to say to myself, I need fixing. We don't need fixing. We're absolutely perfect as we are. It's just our thinking tells us otherwise, but our thinking is all, you know, often is wrong. It's not true. We don't need fixing. That's a good thing. That was another big aha for me. We can get our thinking to a higher level where we feel better, and that's great. And this is what this work is really all about.
Powerful work.
It is, yes. And you all been amazing. Thank you for your amazing participation. It's really great you all jumped in there. Well done.
I really enjoyed it. Thank you very much.
Oh, it's been an absolute pleasure.
Courtney
has, yes. Can the meaning be associated with a decision rather than a memory? I've identified one decision that changed the course of my life. I feel I've associated a lot of meaning around it that has created limiting beliefs for me. That is such an interesting question. I'm just going to read it again. Can the meaning be associated with a decision? So a decision is a thought. And a decision is probably based around a memory. And the decision could be based on the meaning that you made up about that memory. So when we make a decision, let's think about it. When we make a decision, we probably look back, don't we, to past experiences, similar experiences, not only of our own, but of other people. And then we'll weigh up the risk and what we think will be best. We may say, well, it might be best to do this, it might be better to do that, but we're not normally making a decision in a completely clear way. We're basing it on our memories or the meanings we've made up about memories. So I'm guessing that there's a memory here and a meaning tied to that decision. So it would take a little bit of detective work to figure that out, what that meaning is, what that limiting belief is that you based your decision around. And then when we make a decision, that's a memory, that's another memory. And so what meaning have you made up about that decision that you made? So it's all connected. That's why finding your earliest memory around a limiting belief is like you go back to the foundation of that memory. You basically reframe that earliest memory, which means you reframe everything that came after that memory back to the present day. That's why it's worth digging around. When you find a memory, is there anything even earlier than that? Is there anything even earlier than that? Keep going back as far as you can. Courtney, that's interesting. So the decision led to the memories I've attached meaning to. That's helpful. Yes, absolutely. Are there any other questions or comments or any other shares? Melinda. Does it matter how we frame the question? Do we always need to begin with scary or sad? Or how do we work on different things? Yeah, that's a great question. So how you frame the limiting belief, is that what you mean? It's scary. Yeah, it's scary is a really good way of framing a limiting belief. It's scary to shine brightly. It's scary to play big. Confrontation is scary. It's scary to be no. So scary is a really good way. But what I would do is capture your thinking. Because often you've got limiting beliefs, which are whole limiting beliefs in your thinking. So write them down if you can. And just take a look at what you've written down and just start underlying what you think the beliefs are. Another set of beliefs is enough. I'm not good enough. I'm not enough. I'm not smart enough. I don't know enough. So enough is another really great way to find limiting beliefs. I'm trying to think what other ways there are. It's scary. Enough is a big one. I can't. That's another good way to start. I can't find high paying clients, or I'll never get high paying clients. I'll never make this work. So yeah, there are so many different ways. I do it automatically now. When my clients are talking, I'm just thinking, let's try this limiting belief. Have you got this one? And we find them very quickly because I've been doing this for such a long time now. So yeah, but it just takes a bit of practice and you'll get really good at it. Melinda, I love that. Can't heal the limiting beliefs until I expose them. Yeah, they're really nasty little things. They're like little nasty little gremlins, in our subconscious, pulling all the strings, running our lives. And they need to be brought out into the open air where we can see who they are and start knocking them off the table.
Good stuff. Nina, thank you very much. I've been doing these calls for close to 4 years, and I think this is the best call we've ever had.
Oh, thank you, Ted.
Based on how people are responding.
That's such a lovely thing to say. Thank you.
People need to learn more about you. How can they work with you?
Well, the easiest way is to drop me an email. So I'll put my email into chat. I love talking to people. So if you would like to get in touch, then we can set up a time to have a chat. And if there's anything that you feel is holding up in your business, we can talk about it. And I promise you, I'm not going to sell to you or anything. If we feel that I can help you, that we're a good fit, then we can talk about that. Otherwise, I'm happy to, hear about you and your business, what your challenges are. And you will get hopefully some shift as we're talking, or discover something new they haven't thought about before. So, if you'd like to get in touch, that is the very best way. It's my personal email address. LinkedIn, of course, but this is my personal email address. I don't give it out to everyone, but, please do get in touch with me. LinkedIn is a great way, and email as well.
Great. Any last questions before we say goodbye? No, I guess not. Thank you so much. This has been incredible.
Thank you. Thank you, Ted. And thank you to everyone. You've been an absolute joy today.
Thank you very much.
Oh, it's a pleasure.
Thank you.
See you all next week. And next week we shift our time, so it's an hour earlier starting next week. I'll send an email to everybody. Thanks again, Nina.
Another great
Take
program.
care.
Appreciate you.
It's a pleasure. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.